Hello, I'm Kevin with Open Source Marketing Dojo, and today we are going to be talking about installing Ubuntu 18.04 on AWS Lightsail, Amazon Lightsail. You should be able to find a video that I released previously about why you should choose Lightsail. Now we're going to really get into the meat and potatoes. This base server is going to be the one we use for a few different softwares, so we're going to make a snapshot of it when we're done. And so I just need you to follow along a little bit, trust me a little bit, and then you can do a bunch of Googling if you need. There will also be a link to the step-by-step instructions in blog format for anybody who is looking for it after following through with the video. Alright, so let's pull up my Amazon Lightsail. And we're in already. I logged in already. Again, so this is clean. This is the same account I logged into yesterday, or well, in the previous video. It just kind of give you a tour of Amazon Lightsail. So let's create an instance. I'm going to create a Linux instance. I'm going to do OS only. Now, it is a big time saver to just grab the LAMP stack and go. So that's Linux that we're on already. I believe this is an Amazon Linux distribution if we go with this one. And they've already got Apache, MySQL, PHP, and PHP-MyAdmin installed. I'm not going to install PHP-MyAdmin in this video. We'll do that in a separate video. So we're just going to get going with Ubuntu. Now, I'm choosing Ubuntu because I'm familiar with it. And that's how you should kind of pick your Linux distribution when it comes to these ones. They are all good distributions. I've done a course on CentOS, and I'm functionally capable of working with the RPM package manager, and I think it's pretty solid also. But I'm super familiar with Ubuntu. It's it's built on the Debian flavor. It uses the apt package manager. It's just my cup of tea. So that's why we're using it. I'm going to pick the one where I get the free month. And it's only $3.50 US a month if I were to leave it running. And I'm going to call this one LAMP-base. I'm calling it LAMP base because when I create the snapshot, it's going to use this name. I don't need tags. These tags are so you can sort stuff out and do analytics later. And everything else is set up like I showed you yesterday. Now, I am going to change the availability zone, which may cause some of what I've already typed in to go away. No, it doesn't. I'm going to create the instance. I chose the Montreal zone because I am in Canada. If you're in the States, choose the one that's closest to you or closest to your users is technically what you're trying to do. Depending on where you are and what the laws are where you are, it may actually matter where your data center is physically located on some level. So just be aware that that may be true. And so this is just working its way to being ready, and it's running now. I'm going to open the SSH window, and what I normally do is I'd smile and I'd clear this so that you can see what's going on. I'm going to minimize this for a second. Just want to go look at something. So I'm going to networking, and it looks like HTTP is already set up. So as soon as I set up the Apache server, I should be able to see whether it's functioning. And that's important. If you had this closed still, if this was missing, you could bang on that port 80 all day and Lightsail won't let you in. Amazon's EC2, like the virtual machine won't be on the internet in reality. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a sudo I'm going to do apt update and then apt upgrade. I do that every time I load a new system because I don't know where it's at. And right now, this is actually pretty important because not that long ago they discovered there was a security issue with sudo actually. And so I want to make sure I get that upgraded. And away it goes. So I'm just going to minimize, I don't need to minimize this actually, because I am not doing anything important. Actually, so I'm going to say yes to this because I just wanted to. And so we'll just let that go. When that is done installing, I know it is a little boring to watch, we're going to install Apache. I actually will minimize this. Let's grab our IP address. And I'm not going to bother creating a static one yet. Site can't be reached, so we're comfortable there's nothing there yet. I did that so that as soon as the site's up I can just refresh that page and boom, we'll have something. And so that's why I did that. So again, look in the description of this video and you will find a step-by-step instructions with the code that I use in the description, or in a blog format, because it's pretty rough trying to figure this out on your own without that. And pausing the video at every second is not going to be your friend. And I'm just choosing defaults because I just wanted to stay functional. I typically don't really love pre-existing images, and so I would, if I'm not going to use the one that already has the software bundled together, I will normally really try to root down if I can. So we're going to do a sudo system. I think this is supposed to be control. That's kind of what it looks like to me. Status and Apache 2. I'm doing this to show you that the service isn't found. It's not there. Alright, so sudo, and you can get away with doing apt-get install if you want, but in 18.04 I just use apt because I do instead of apt-get. It's just the newer flavor, I guess. And so we're going to sudo apt install Apache 2. Yes, I do want to. And this one's pretty fast. It's a pretty tight little web server. Does its thing in badass ways. And so now I'm going to press up twice. We see that sudo system control status, and I'm going to say status. Oh, and now we have Apache services there, and it is running. And we see the Apache server up and rocking around right here. So I normally install a firewall if I'm installing it externally, but that isn't installed by default in this instance, obviously, so I don't need to do I don't need to make a hole in the firewall for port 80 and port 443 is all that I'm getting at here. And so if you have an issue where you can't just reload this page and get what you're expecting, I would expect that that's what's happening, and you'll have to go find the video that I create in the future regarding that exact issue. If everything's working though, this is what you should see when you go to the IP of your server. So we are up, and I'm going to bring back up my web-based SSH console, and we're going to install MySQL server. So we're going to go sudo apt install MySQL server. You know what? I'm actually going to do this first. So I want you to see it's not there. We haven't installed it yet. We're going to say yes. And this is a fairly big one for what it is, so this might take a little bit longer, but clearly it's progressing pretty quickly. The worst of the bunch was the operating system was updated, and that's because this image is probably a little bit older, so I had to get a bunch of stuff. I mean, it's not ancient, obviously, but it's going to be older. Whatever image is there probably wasn't made yesterday. And so, because I already typed this in, go check. Hey, look, that's what I'm expecting. It's all started. And then the first thing that I always do after I install MySQL server is I do the MySQL_secure_ installation to make sure that the installation is secure. And I don't know why I typed my sudo, because I'm a dodo. And then I'm going to press yes. And so this is how secure do you want your password to be. We're going to be eventually installing MyPHPadmin. You're on the internet. The intention is for this to be for production, so we should probably go with as strong as we can get. So I'm going to go with 2. It's asking for a new password. I'm going to use one that I use pretty commonly, but what I would typically do is I would load up, actually I'm going to do this. So I'd load up strong password generator, set it to 20 characters, I'd generate something like this. It's a beast. I'd copy it. That is not the password I'm using. I'm going to generate a whole new one like that. And then I would use that password as the password for this. So my estimated password strength is 100. Do I wish to continue with the password? Yes, of course I do. And then you're probably going to have to record that somewhere so that you it should only be allowed to connect from me. Yep, I agree. Yep, I agree. And so basically just say yes to all of these. And there you go. So now you're way, way more secure than you were. And that is going to make you a lot happier with basically what you have. I would basically make sure that you do have a strong password. I literally generate passwords for everything, and then I use a password manager and a password database that requires me to authenticate against it. I only know 2 passwords, and then I have a mechanism for creating 20-character long passwords. That only screws me once in a while. But be aware that that is the way to keep your password secure. Alright, so what we're going to do next is we're going to go in and change some authentication rules within MySQL. Okay, so like I was saying, we need to give MySQL a little love. And so we're going to create a user. Oh no, I think we're going to change the authentication of the root user. So let me just double check. And I know I'm going through and this is like, I'm scared, it's terrible, I'm scared, but this isn't that bad. And I already know this stuff, so it makes it seem like, oh, this is so super hard. Do I need this? I don't know if the space matters or not. I can never remember in this interface. I'm a little rusty. Probably shows, just because you don't type. I mean, you do, but you don't set things up from scratch a ton, because you have the flexibility. And so yeah, we're looking at the root user here. We're looking at it's an auth socket. Now, auth socket is technically more secure, but if we decide that we want to use phpMyAdmin, it can cause us grief in the future. I'm just going to stretch this bigger. I don't know if that makes any difference. Yeah, there you go. I just wanted this not to be broken up in such a weird looking way. And so that's what we're going to change with this next command. We're going to do an alter user command, and these are just SQL queries. You can Google any of this stuff. Make sure I didn't invert my E and my I. It's Kevinson. Alright, I think that's it. Once more. And there. Password does not satisfy the current policy requirements. Oh, dope. I need to actually give this a password. So I am going to I can't clear in MySQL. Alright, so I have to actually give it a strong password. I don't want to show that to you because I don't. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause my recording. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to bring it back. But so you're replacing the word password here with your strong password. I just had a moment. And so that's all that is. Okay, so that I've changed that, I've flushed privileges, and now if I use the select user authentication string, again you'll see that it is now set to MySQL native password. That's going to be something that you don't have to troubleshoot as much when you install PHP MyAdmin the way I do it, and so that's why that exists. If you type exit now and you try to go into MySQL, what you see is that it doesn't work unless you actually do it with the -u user you want and then the password. I'm not going to retype my password right now. We are going to move on to installing PHP. Alright, so I want the Apache 2 library mod library for PHP and the PHP MySQL libraries installed at the same time. So you can do multiple installs with apt. Like I could do sudo apt install PHP, sudo apt install libapache2-mod-php, sudo apt install php-mysql, but I can do them all in one go, so I'm going to. So I want to install PHP. I want to install libapache2-mod.php, and I want to install php-mysql. And if there's any other important libraries you want to include, you can do it right here, right now. Sometimes I install extra, but we're not in a massive push to do that this time round. So of course the default is yes, that's why it's uppercase. So if I just press enter, it's going to treat it as a yes. If the N was uppercase, it would treat it as a no. I'm going to put the Y in because I like to. I want you to know I'm choosing yes. Away it goes. And PHP is installed. I don't know if Nano is installed by default in this instance. Yeah, it is. So I'm a Nano person. You'll meet Vi people, but that isn't my gig. So I'm going to use Nano. I'm going to go sudo nano /var/www/html/info.php. And we see a blank file. I'm going to add a little PHP here. And anybody who's installed PHP anywhere will know what I'm installing. I would not leave this file on my production level server. So we're just doing this mostly to prove that PHP is happy and playing fun times for us. So Control O. Yep, that's what I want to write. X. And now I'm going to just clear this. And now that I've installed PHP, I don't think I reset. I know I didn't reset the Apache server. So I'm going to go sudo system control ctl restart Apache 2. I thought that would give me more message than it did for some reason. So this is the nice part. Like when you've done a bunch of things, so now you can go status is active and running. I think that should work. So we're here. Let's put in our info.php file and see if it works. Oh, it does. So we are running PHP version 7.2 on Ubuntu 18.04. That's exactly where I want to be. In this round, here's all our details there too. We may change those up depending on what we need afterwards, but I just want to show you it is here and it's working, and so we are ready to do some modifications to this install. The one that jumps to the top of my head is I want index.php to load before index.html, so I'm going to have to change the dir conf. And we'll do that again in nano. So sudo nano when you do this a whole lot, it actually becomes like something that you just know where it is. Enabled, I think. But you can always Google these things too, right? So we got that right. We should have this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move index.php from here to here. And I'm going to output that. Yep. And then I'm going to exit. And now I need to restart Apache again. And I'd like that to be more verbose. For some reason I thought it would be, but maybe it's just because I'm in Bitnami installations so often. I think they use their own little tool for that, or they're more it's set up to be more verbose. By verbose, I just mean it tells you I'm stopping this service, I'm starting this service. And then at this point we can install PHP modules, whichever ones we so desire. And we can check out which PHP modules exist by checking the apt cache for them. So if we just go sudo apt-cache search PHP dash, maybe? I think that's what it is, because we want anything that starts with PHP dash. And then I'm going to just go pipe less. And that'll let me kind of bring them up one at a time. So there's a whole pile here, obviously. And you can just install all of them, I suppose, if you wanted to, but I am not. So, not so fast to do that. And currently I don't need any extras that I can think of. I'll selectively install PHP modules as I see fit. And I'll make sure that I mention it if I install it in a future video to do something else. You need to scroll like through all of them. I'm just sort of watching to make sure I'm not missing anything that I desperately need this time around. Is MB string enabled? There's certain alright, so that's what I'm going to look for in here that I definitely want. So there are ones that I'm going to end up installing for sure. But PHP MB string is the one I'm going to install right away here. MB string module for PHP. I for sure want that one. Some people just do the install all, but I've got a policy to only install things I'm actually using. I expect I'm going to end up running through this video again in the future, probably when the next long-term support version comes live, and we'll do the LTS for the new server with the new software at that time. So those are all the options you see there. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to go sudo install php-mb string. Maybe if I typed apt, that would be a goodness. And away it goes. Again, yes is default. I hit enter, and it just goes to it. You could install, like I said, all of them. I'm not going to, because I don't want all of them at this point. But we are now ready to move on. And let's just make sure MB string is now here and enabled. I might have to go enable it also. So it should have been there. I might have to go back out and enable that. It is not super essential at this exact moment. So we're going to do one more thing here. And that's we're going to create an index file in that PHP, and we're going to delete the PHP info file there, so the info.php. So I'm going to nano back into here, and I'm going to delete and save this, because then no matter what I do, it's not going to matter very much. Sweet. Blankness. We'll install. We'll get PHP going here. So you don't technically need to close out your PHP. I'm going to this time, but it's not actually essential. The interpreter will do it for you. And we are now seeing the index file for PHP at that location. So then, once you've seeded into this directory, you can just look at what's there by typing ls, and then we will remove info.php. Yes. Remove, okay. I'll show it's gone. You get the same thing. And so instead of just pressing up and typing sudo, you can just use the bang operator, which is essentially the same as typing what I just typed. And now we're down to just the index.php. And we can exit. We now have the LAMP stack installed on our Ubuntu server that is ready to be used for the next installation we want to do. In the next video, I will be doing an SSL certificate, and I'll be associating a domain name. So that should get you to the point that you're now ready to install real software on this server. And then in the video after that, I will be doing my PHP admin, because I think for most people, they don't want to create their database through the MySQL command line interface. And I can understand that. It is not the most user-friendly. It even requires me to look up commands sometimes, depending on how long it's been done something. And there's just more room for error, right? So if you found this video helpful and you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to see more videos or follow along with this series, you for sure want to subscribe. And if you are, if you're just wanting to know more about us, don't hesitate to go to the website, sign up for a free account, and send us a message, and we will make sure that we help you as best you can. Thank you very much.